What is going on, guys? My name is 4G. So today I wanted to talk about the bot problem in Fortnite again, because this is something that has not been fixed and I don't know if they will fix it. But also recently another competitor game that we'll get into in a bit has recently done something that I think Fortnite would benefit from if they just copied this exact situation, but we'll get into that in a second. But the point is, bots, in my opinion, absolutely ruin Fortnite because it is not a battle royale at that point, okay? When you have upwards of 88 bots in the game, this is not a battle royale. This is a free-for-all, okay? There's no reason that we should have anywhere near that many bots in the game. It slows down the gameplay. It makes it a very boring experience for a lot of people. Maybe, sure, there's a lot of people that do want to have bots in the game, and I think that's completely fine, which is why we'll talk about an alternative in a second. But when it comes down to it right now, in the current situation, you are picking between either playing against upwards of 88 bots, because yes, even at a higher skill level, you can have a lot of bots in your game, and they do not go up in skill. So it is just playing against absolute moron bots that cannot do anything and do not shoot back. And there's really no point in shooting him in this game because there's really nothing to gain from it. I guess maybe XP, that's really it. But other than that, it's not really that fulfilling like when you play against an actual player and actually outplay somebody. But also it just slows down the entire game because if you're not lucky and you don't have these bots spawn on you, well, there's no action whatsoever. There's nothing going on because these bots take up a slot in the player count of the game. It is just not how it should be, and I am so tired of Fortnite being the way it is right now. It completely ruins it for me, especially in OG. OG never had this. Chapter 1 did not have any bots. They did not add bots until Chapter 2, and they did that because of the skill-based matchmaking update, which they did in order to keep matchmaking quick, and I just don't think that's the way it should work. If we're talking about having skill-based matchmaking, but now you can't play against real people for the majority of your game, that should not be how it is, okay? If you have to sacrifice one for the other, I just think we should just go back to how it was, okay? Chapter 1 was peak Fortnite for a reason. There was no skill-based matchmaking. We weren't trying to control the gameplay, okay? Whereas now it feels like the gameplay is supposed to be manipulated in a way so that you feel better about yourself, so that you spend more money in the shop. That's how it feels, and it feels like that for a lot of different games, but it really feels like that with Fortnite when it comes to Battle Royale nowadays, because even 50v50, they recently had to patch out how many bots are in 50v50. Now, that particular mode I kind of understand because it kind of died out pretty quickly, but at the end of the day, I still think with over 3K people playing it, tell me you can find me one match with real people. I just don't get that personally. Like, there's no way, right? Playing against bots is not fun, okay? To me, this is like going over to Call of Duty, loading up a game of private match and just playing against bots in a private match. Sure, it's fun for maybe 5 minutes. After that, it's not fun at all. There's no challenge to that. It doesn't feel like you're outplaying a real person, which definitely added to the experience of it. A battle royale has always been random, by the way. That is the whole point. That is the whole appeal of a battle royale. You go into the game and there's 100 random people that you don't know. You don't know their skill, or at least that's how it used to be. You don't know their skill. You don't know what they're doing, where they're going. You don't know how they're going to play. And that's also why we get random loot. We drop down at a chest and you can get whatever. You can get a gold scar right off the bat, or you get a gray burst out of a chest. Like, there's a huge variety of loot that you could get, and it's completely RNG. That's why the game has bloom when you shoot at other players. This is exactly how a battle royale works. It is completely random. So when you try to change that by adding bot and making it so that we have skill-based matchmaking, and these are the only kinds of players that can be within this game, it makes for a much worse experience. And also, I don't think it benefits casual players as much as a lot of people think it does. I really don't believe so, because if it benefited casual players so much to the point where it's so engaging and they are playing against people of their own skill all the time, well, then I don't think there'd be anybody complaining about skill-based matchmaking at that point. I see a lot of people who do, though, and it's not just Fortnite, it's mostly Call of Duty, but it's in many different games. I recently saw that Battlefield 6 might have skill-based matchmaking, which would be the first time ever for a Battlefield game as far as I'm aware, which, if true, is absolutely insane, okay? Can we not have skill-based matchmaking in every single game? It's not there for the players, okay? I want everybody to know that it's not there for you. It's there to manipulate you so that you are funneled into a particular match so that you can only play these particular players and nobody else. It's just there to give you either a guaranteed win or a guaranteed loss, pretty much, and just to keep you playing. That's really all any of this is. More strict at other games than others, especially Call of Duty. It's completely meant to manipulate you in Call of Duty, which, let's talk about that game, because we're actually going to say something positive about this particular game, and that is they actually did what Fortnite should have done from the beginning if they wanted bots in the game. Recently, Call of Duty Warzone added the ability to have a casual playlist and play against bots on purpose. And it's not just bots, okay? It's not just bots. It's exactly how it is in Fortnite. There's a mix of bots and real players, and honestly, it is a lot of fun. Why is it fun in Call of Duty Warzone but not Fortnite? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it gives you the option. Giving me the option completely changes it up for me, all right? You have either the option to play against real players and bots, or just real players in a normal pub match, or you then can play ranked. And don't tell me that ranked is the solution here in Fortnite. It is not. Playing against ranked is a totally different experience than playing in pubs. If we had 3 different playlists in order to do this like Call of Duty Warzone has, then I think it'd be a far different experience, okay? Because ranked is there to be the most competitive experience, and right now it might not even be. Honestly, ranked might be ruined right now because there's a lot of people like myself who would only play it just because you want to play against real people and not against bots all the time, but yet it's ruined for the actual players who are just trying to play competitively. Well, now you're not exactly getting that experience as much because then there's people trying to just play it casually, and that kind of makes it way too easy to get to Unreal and all sorts of things like that. But, you know, that's a whole video for another day, I guess. But when it comes down to it, I think another reason is because Warzone, when you're playing in this new casual playlist that has bots and players, it has a max of 150 players, and they have the whole gulag system so that basically if you 1v1, then you can have a chance to come back and respawn, whereas Fortnite has none of that. And when it doesn't have any of that, it only has 100 players, it makes for a far slower experience. It's not as fun. And I get it, the Warzone map I believe is bigger than the Fortnite map, but I feel like it balances a lot better than in Fortnite with only 100 people, and those bots do not respawn if they get taken out. They just do not respawn, whereas they have a chance to respawn in Warzone, and again, there's more people. So I just think it's a far better balance in that game, and I don't think they're going to just magically increase the player count to 150 in Fortnite. So could we just get a regular public match option like we had back in the day, especially for OG, or you know, let me say this, at least for OG, because at the very beginning of the OG mode when it came out in December of 2024, there was no bots. There was no bots, there was no skill-based matchmaking, or well, we don't really know if there was no skill-based matchmaking, but there was no bots, that's for sure, because I remember seeing a leak of people going into the API or whatever of the game, and it had absolutely no bots, and it was a far better experience. Yeah, was it harder to get a victory royale? Of course it was, but that's what made it more interesting, because if you did get a victory royale within that, it made it far more rewarding. And also, if you're going back to Warzone, there's actually something you can play for when you're playing against bots. You could grind for camos and stuff like that, which is, in my opinion, fun. Not to everybody, but I mean, you can grind for the specific camos that are just for Warzone, and that's actually what I've been doing. It makes it a lot more fun and a lot more exciting to actually find bots, because I know that I'm progressing my camo challenges and I'm actually progressing towards something. Whereas in Fortnite, I shoot a bot, that doesn't do anything for me. There's nothing interesting about that. There's nothing engaging to that. I don't exactly know, but I will say it has completely ruined Fortnite for me, and I don't really find this game as enjoyable as I used to, and it's because of things like that. And I feel like the bots are only getting worse and worse over time. I don't exactly know. It's just something that is not that fun to experience all the time. We need to either tone it back or just give us the option to play against real players, guaranteed, no bots whatsoever like we have in Warzone, but it's a public match, casual experience. Well, it's not that casual, of course, because you're playing against real people. That's the point, is a PvP experience. If I wanted truly casual, I would not be playing a game that is meant for PvP. That's just the reality of it, okay? That's why I don't agree with skill-based matchmaking or any of that stuff unless we're talking about a ranked playlist, because a ranked playlist, obviously, you want it to be the most competitive possible, and at that point, you need some form of skill-based matchmaking. But when it comes to a regular pubs match, and especially in a battle royale, I just think that there's no place for bots and skill-based matchmaking, all of this stuff. I just don't agree with it personally, and I think that there's something that they could definitely do in order to improve it, because right now, Fortnite, maybe not for the vast majority of the player base, I don't exactly know, but for people like myself, I find it really boring right now, and it's because of every time I load up the game, I'm just playing against bots, and that is really it. You would think it's just because you're in a lower skill-based bracket, and that's when you see bots, but no, you could play against the best players in the game, and you're still going to go against bots in your regular pub matches, and it's so dumb. I'm just so tired of it, and I wish that they would get rid of that. The only thing that they're good for at this point, in my opinion, it allows me to get some easy gameplay where I can get a good amount of eliminations, but at that point, I'd rather just go play Fortnite Reload, because that is far more rewarding, but I don't always want to play Reload. This is the problem, you know? So, I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Do you think that Fortnite would benefit from having a third playlist option so that we can actually play against real people, guaranteed, but it's not ranked? Or do you think that it's completely fine the way it is, and that's it? But, yeah, what do you guys think about this? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. And if you guys enjoyed this video, a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new here and you like videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.